All right, welcome back, everybody who, all four of you that may have watched me open up a 1995 Zenith football box. I do have my 1997 Topps Finest Series 1 box, which I'm pretty excited to open up. I'm sure it will probably come at a pretty big loss as far as the money spent on this versus what we will actually pull, but like I referenced in the first video, you can pull some pretty substantial cards out of this. Obviously, extremely low odds, very rare, but this product does have a really high ceiling. And when this first came out back in the day, I had an upgrade in my allowance to like I think $5 a week. Pretty sure a pack was $5 or more even. I just remember I only ever opened one pack and I got like one uncommon and a bunch of commons. So for those of you not familiar with this, the base set, it's basically all commons, bronze, then you have your silver, and then your gold. And the silver cards, I believe you get like a handful in a box. I'm talking about base, not refractors, not the embossed refractors, but just base. And then you get, I think per box, one gold base card. And then, it starts getting pretty crazy. I looked around on the internet quite a bit because they actually don't state the odds anywhere on the box. But, I know that the... as far as the refractors go, you will average 2 a box, and those are probably, typically just commons. A silver refractor is 1 per 2 boxes, so 1 in 48 packs. And sorry if I didn't mention, there's 24 packs in a box. And then a gold refractor is 1 in 288 packs. So you're talking, I think that's 1 in a dozen boxes, if I'm trying to do my math correctly off the top of my head. And then you have like your embossed silver, your embossed gold refractors, and that's where things can get pretty high dollar. Like if you were to get a Barry Sanders, Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, gold embossed refractor, and I think all those were die cuts as well. But what I saw on the internet was it was 1 in like like a 1 in 48 boxes essentially. So I don't know how many cases that would equate to, but it's pretty rare. I think I saw on Blowout Cards once when they were talking about the baseball set. Someone had done the math, and I think like because someone had pulled a Ken Griffey Jr. The gold embossed refractor die cut, and I don't remember if they said they estimated there was between 27 or 37 that were ever produced, but obviously, you've very low odds of ripping something like that. But it does exist, and that's what makes, that this kind of exciting. And again, doing this just to open up boxes of cards I remember from my childhood that were, I really wished I could have opened a box. And I think the only box I ever opened in my entire life growing up in the 90s, for Christmas, I got a 1993 Fleer Ultra football box. So, because that was like my entire Christmas present. I think it was probably like $50 or something like that. But so, without any further ado, as they say, I feel kind of bad I put a scratch right through Isaac Bruce. We will get these packs out and see what this, gosh, at this point, 27-year-old box of football cards has for us. So hopefully we don't have like stuck together damaged cards. That's always a risk with like old boxes like this, from what I've come to realize, or at least what I've read online. I guess I don't realize it from actually doing it myself, but so Eric Davis, Chris Hudson. I remember Eric Davis, not so much Chris Hudson. I remember Gus Frerotte ramming his head into the wall after scoring a touchdown and hurting his neck or being concussed, or one of the two. All right, so this is I can tell it looks silver. So if they say uncommon, not sure how well, and I apologize that anyone can read that. The uncommons are the silvers, rare are the golds, common or bronze. So this is one of the silver embossed. I think I read these are like 1 in 16 packs. So kind of unfortunate if I'm only going to get one in this box. It's Wesley Walls, but that is what it is. And then, Bobby, I think it was Herbert or Air Bear. I don't remember how you pronounce his name. So when it comes to, when I was looking at the checklist, when it comes to the bronze players or the uncommons, they sprinkle in a couple decent stars, but it's really mostly, as you might imagine, kind of the semi stars. I think if y'all remember, we'll go back in time here for a second. If you remember the Beckett magazine, you had commons, semi stars, and stars, if they weren't like listed. And see, Tim Brown I would consider a star, but I know that's just, it's a common. He's just a bronze. Ty Detmer, Andre Hastings. I think Chester McLaughlin, I feel like he was a pretty good player for the Raiders. Leland McElroy. Woody. For all those Cowboys fans out there. Darren Woodson, I don't think he's probably ever going to make the Hall of Fame, but he was definitely a pretty key part to their 90s Super Bowl teams. Defensively, I mean. Cornelius Bennett, wow. Tony Bennett, just running off some Bennetts. Kajana Carter. Again, if you know, you know. This guy, especially on me growing up in Ohio, number one, I'm sorry, he didn't go number one overall. I think Dan Wilkinson did. Was that 94? Oh, Kajana, I think, was 1995. But he was a number one overall pick out of Penn State University, and he tore his ACL in the preseason, I think, or training camp. Either way, it was really sad because, we were all pretty excited to pull his football cards, and then it was kind of a bummer because he was hurt. And there's a Shannon Sharp, uncommon. Marvin Washington, Eric Moulds. I'm sure for any Bills fans, I guess I should put Wesley Walls over there, even though it is what it is. So I'm not familiar enough with this set. This Burt Emanuel, that looks gold in the background. I am really hoping, all right, common. Really hoping that is not a rare. No. I remember Burt Emanuel, I believe he had a 1,000-yard season or two. The Falcons were what they were during the 90s. He flashed a little here and there, but he's not somebody I would think you would put in the gold set. To me, that's your superstars, your perennial all-pros, Pro Bowlers, or maybe a hyped young star at the time. But, we have a refractor. And that is Burt Emanuel. Maybe I deserve that. I'll have to go back after I open all this and actually check and see make sure I don't miss like a common or uncommon or a rare card versus a not rare card. Wow, Fred Barnett. See, I remember him as an Eagle. Don't have any clue. Oh, all right, Steve Atwater. There's an uncommon. Marcus Robinson. Now, I remember Napoleon Kaufman. He did have a 1,000-yard season for the Raiders. And mix these up a little bit. So, I will say, so far, compared to Zenith, at least the checklist of the Zenith box, I pretty much recognize, I feel like 90 to 95% of the players. Again, probably because at the time this was made, they were tiering everything, where you had, you know, your bronze, your bronze common, your silver uncommon, your gold rare. That, you know, if you want to have, so series 1, I think it's like 100 card base set. You're going to have 100 cards that are, you know, you're bound to have people, I guess, that, you know, 27 years later, you're just not going to remember, or maybe you just never knew. I do remember Derek Alexander. I think he returned kicks for them. Eugene Daniel. I do remember Mike Manula, and oh my goodness, here's another refractor. Hopefully we have more refractors coming in this box, because this is a Marcus Robertson common refractor. Hitman. Darren Perry and Aaron Hayden. Again, a lot of names I just simply do not recognize. And like I said, you know, I think I told you all that Zenith box, it was like 70 bucks on eBay. These are a little pricier. Like, you're pretty lucky if you can find them for around a 150. Oh my goodness, how much Bird Emmanuel can we pull here? So hopefully, if there's anyone out there who's thinking about, now it's one thing if you collect like sealed boxes. I get it if you want to get a box of this just to put in your collection. But if you're buying boxes to potentially open, hopefully this will give you some kind of idea of either the floor or ceiling you could be looking at. But we got Bird Emmanuel, Jesse Armstead, Chris Hudson. Oh, we got Deion Sanders Masters. That's a rare card. All right. I mean, if you're only going to get, if you're going to get one rare base, or when I say base, I mean like it's not a refractor or embossed or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, Deion's not terrible, so I'll take that. And rest in peace, Junior Seau. Can put you over here because you go into our Hall of Fame stack. And that's what I mean. I think when I looked at this checklist, it might be like Seau and Jerome Bettis, I think. Might be the two best players that are in like your quote-unquote common set. You know, like I said, when it comes to this, you have an incredibly high floor, but, you know, so far you, like, if I just go on to pull a bunch of nothing the rest of these packs, you know, this box is an absolute bust. I mean, Eric Hill, Raymond Harris, I remember him. It's Simeon Rice. Was he a rookie this season? I think he was in 96. Oh, yeah. So that's probably worth mentioning. I went with Series 1 over Series 2. Series 2 is the one that has your rookies. So for 1997, you're kind of looking at like Tony Gonzalez is like the guy. And then there's really not a lot of other guys. I think like Warwick Dunn, Jake Plummer. I'm sure I'm missing a couple guys. You know, I'm just kind of winging this off the top of my head here. But Cortez Kennedy, he's in the Hall of Fame. But unfortunately, he's a defensive player. And, well, you got to love getting those checklist cards. Ricky Walters. If you watched our Zenith video, you know, we're We were stinging a little bit from him. But that's what I mean. There is... they don't have any stats on here. I was going to say, I know he had some pretty impressive seasons with the Eagles, where, you know, he was obviously stuck in a conference that had Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, so kind of made it hard for him to ever, like, lead that conference in rushing. All right, we got a little Rodney Harrison action. You know, went on to get a ring with the Patriots. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a 1,000-yard season as a rookie in '96 and kind of fell off. I don't remember if he ever had a second 1,000-yard season or not. But all right, so what do we have left here? We've got 7 and 7. So I guess we got, what, 14 packs to go. We'll try this end. Curtis Conway. I maybe y'all might disagree with me on this, but like, I remember when Steve Smith came into the league, he kind of like gave me Curtis Conway vibes, like a smaller receiver, like big attitude. Not saying in a bad way, but just like played with like a chip on his shoulder. It was pretty physical. That's what I remember of Curtis Conway for the Bears. All right, there. That's what I was talking about. You got Jerome Bettis, and yep, he's probably can't see it, but I'm trying to show you. He's a common. Robert Smith, common. Jason Sehorn. I remember he was like a thing for a season, and then they had him return a kickoff, I think, and was it in preseason even? He blew out his knee, and just that was pretty much it for him. All right, Jason Dunn. Do not know you at all. Or you. I do remember Rodney Hampton. He was drafted the same year as Emmitt Smith. He had some 1,000-yard seasons for... Okay, so apparently in 1996, he must have rushed for 827 yards. I think his best season, he ran for like, I think 1,400 one year. And in case you all are wondering, yeah, I know a lot of my running back stats from the 90s because, you know, again, if you're watching this, you know, back in the 1990s, it was all about the running back. All about the running back. You know, different time now. Okay. See, this is one of those where I see like bits of silver and I'm like, is that an uncommon? No, it's a common, which makes sense because it's Willie Davis. John Copeland, more Rodney Harrison, more Robert Smith. Okay, I would hope Jim Harbaugh. Sorry, coach. And more Jason Sehorn. So, you know, so far not looking the greatest. But I kind of intend whenever I do these that, you know, it's going to be pretty much a sunk cost on any box. And, you know, if I get anything cool, especially something cool for like my PC, that's great. Common. Oh, I got a second silver embossed, which, hey, that's beating the odds. They're 1 in 16 packs, but it's Edgar Bennett. So that is what it is. And Aeneas Williams. Definitely one of the great cover corners of his time. Okay, we got Mel Gray. Is he uncommon? Nope. Tony Bennett. Kajana Carter. Herman Moore's an uncommon. He's, yeah, no, I'm right about that. I figured he had to be. I talked about him in the Zenith video that See, in 1996, he had 1,296 yards and 9 touchdowns. He was like a supernova for the I gotta like that Moose. He was a supernova for the not the Giants, the Lions there for a little bit. He had some monster seasons and just kind of like faded off. But he was a big guy. I think he was like 6'4", 6'5", like your prototypical, you know, monster physical receiver. Kind of before that was the prototypical thing. If that makes sense. Gosh, I do remember Tony Brackens. I remember the name. Another Jerome Bettis, William Floyd. Oh, Adrian Morrell, why do you look silver? Because you're an uncommon. Probably because in 1996, he ran for 1,249 yards and 6 touchdowns. And I think the year before that, I don't remember if this dude was drafted. I remember, okay, so 5th round in 1993. I remember he kind of broke on the scene and had like again, with running backs being all the rage in the 90s, even guys that ran for 800, 900 yards and like were in the top 20, 25 in the league, they kind of like popped on your radar if you were collecting in the hobby. You like knew their name anyways. And yeah, I remember the name. So probably because he's playing in the New York market for the New York Jets, and he, you know, ran for nearly 1,300 yards. You know, they put him in the uncommon set. That's unfortunate when you're collecting 27 years later, but Andre Coleman, wow, Stephon Moore, Mark Brunell, which, you know, at the time, heck, he's the first card in the set, is an uncommon, not terrible at the time. Oh, yeah, Mikey Strahan, common. Warren Sapp, also a common. Haven't seen Strahan or Sapp the whole time. I'm surprised. I feel like I've seen a lot of these commons again and again and again. And first time seeing those guys. And I guess if you think about the point in time in their career that they're at, is that a refractor right on the top? And of course no, it's not. It looks like one though. It must not be. Wishful thinking, I suppose. Wow, Jamal Anderson, the Dirty Birds, which at the time this was made, he was not yet. He ran for 1,000 yards, his first 1,000-yard season. And then, of course, in 1998, he ran for like 1,800, and they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Broncos. Trent Dilfer. All right, we're down to the last 6 packs here. Hey, Isaac Bruce, he's our box topper. Common. I figured common, given the stage in his career he was at. Benny Blades, Terry Glenn, Willie Clay is an uncommon, Kevin Carter. Apparently there's another Deion Sanders in the set, which is a common card, his Hitman version, which he was never a big Hitman, so I guess that tracks. Oh, Eddie George Masters is a common. Dave Brown. Oh, we got Thurman Thomas. He's a common. That's surprising to me. He's one of the, besides Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, best running back in the 90s.